This happened back in 2018. I had taken a solo camping trip to a remote pine forest in northern Idaho. It wasn't marked on most maps. I found it through a forum where off-grid hikers shared secret spots. The appeal? Total isolation. No cell service. No trails. Just untouched wilderness. I parked off a logging road and hiked in about 5 miles, cutting through dense undergrowth with my machete. The air was cool. The only sound was the crunch of leaves under my boots. After a couple hours, I found a small clearing, the perfect place to pitch my tent. I set up, cooked some dehydrated food, and watched the sun melt behind the trees. The first night was peaceful, almost too peaceful. You ever notice how silence can be louder than noise? That eerie kind of quiet where you start hearing your own blood rushing in your ears. That's how it was. I woke up around 2 a.m. No reason, just awake. The air was ice cold, and the fire had burned out. I stayed in my sleeping bag, listening. At first, nothing. But then I noticed the forest wasn't silent anymore. There was a pattern of crunching, slow, deliberate footsteps. Not a deer, not a bear. These sounded human, too heavy to be a fox, too slow to be a panicked animal. Just one step every few seconds, like someone trying to walk quietly. I sat up in my tent and held my breath. The steps circled my campsite. I didn't have a weapon, just a pocket knife and a flare. I reached for the flare, in case I had to blind whatever or whoever was out there. But the footsteps just faded, not into the woods. They just stopped. I waited in total silence for what felt like hours before finally falling back asleep. The next morning, I chalked it up to paranoia. Maybe a moose wandered too close. Maybe I was just overtired. But then I found something about 30 feet from my tent. In the pine needles, someone had laid out a circle of stones. 12 smooth river rocks in a perfect shape, right in the middle of nowhere. I hadn't seen them when I set up camp. They weren't there. The weirdest part, inside the circle, was a single pine cone, split open with a matchstick sticking out of it, like someone planted it there for me to find. I noped out of there immediately, grabbed my gear, and hiked back to the car without even eating breakfast. I didn't run, but I sure didn't stop either. To this day, I have no clue what that was supposed to mean. A warning? A ritual? A joke? All I know is I wasn't alone in those woods, and whoever was out there, they didn't want me to stay.